Hey, how's it going, everyone? Welcome to the bonus episode for Let's Play Bloodborne: The Old Hunters. I am here in post, and we have one or two little loose ends to tie up today. First, you might recall that we grabbed Lawrence's skull at the surgery altar, and that there was this little tiny unattended matter of a burning cleric beast at one of the Grand Cathedral's altars. So we are going to take the skull up there, and we're going to fight an optional boss. An optional boss who people have kind of been losing their shit over because of how hard he is alleged to be. I don't really understand why. Like, I can see calling Ludwig or the Orphan of Kos hard, but there is something about the difficulty of this upcoming boss I must just be missing. This took about 2 or 3 attempts, I think. He does look really cool with all the embers and the fire effects and the burnt flesh. But it's just a burning cleric beast. Lawrence the First Vicar. Optional bosses in DLCs in From games still seem to be their bane. Blue Smelter, Orange Cleric Beast. Not quite that cut and dry, but still. Some of the lore implications are at least cool. Anyway, now that we're here, theory time. So, first off, I'm inclined to still think that the Headless Bloodletting Beast is still Lawrence, except in the Waking World, just like how there's a Waking World Mikolash and a Nightmare Mikolash. That still makes the most sense to me. 2 realities, 2 skulls, 2 possible Lawrences. Why their beast forms would take 2 different forms, I don't know. That's what makes the theory a little bit shaky to me, if anything. The Bloodletting Beast could still be a form of a Cleric Beast. There's a translation of a Famitsu article in which Ludwig is also referred to as a Cleric Beast. The regular Bloodletting Beast also has that gash in his head, which kind of matches the skull of Lawrence in the Waking World. The other thing is Bradar. I feel like that gash, plus what we already know about Bradar and his relationship with compatriots and Cleric Beasts, makes it entirely possible that Bradar killed and scalped Lawrence somewhere, sometime. His weapon, being the Bloodletter, also kind of ties him to the Bloodletting Beast. Unless he himself is the Bloodletting Beast, which I suppose is possible. The other distinct possibility is that Bradar might have cut the head off of Ludwig, who again is referred to as a form of Cleric Beast. He might have scalped Ludwig, because Ludwig's body has a head missing when you fight him. It's all complete conjecture. It's not the most solid theory, but I'm throwing that out there. It's kind of what I'm leaning towards. I don't think there's enough evidence to the contrary to completely debunk it. I don't think there's enough supporting evidence to say anything certain. But speculation is half the fun in this. The other notable thing about Lawrence here is the music. It's a new theme with just bits and pieces of the original Cleric Beast theme mixed in. At first, I was hoping they would finally use the Night version of the Cleric Beast theme from the alpha, the one that's really heavy and bassier, that's got the much bassier string melody. It sounds like a double bass is being used or something. And the male choir singers dueling with the female singers. Actually, no, I think that's in there in the final version. I don't think the male chorus is in Vicar Amelia's version, which is interesting. That version of the theme, Man, it makes my hair stand on edge. The only thing is that in the alpha version, the vocals are either synthed or they're mixed way better in the final version. Still, though, we've moved on to phase 2 of Lawrence. So the first, about half of his health bar, he's really, really just a harder-hitting cleric beast. He hits harder, yeah, but I still think he's easier than regular cleric beast just because it's, like, visibility's way, way higher. The room is much wider, so you have fewer camera problems. Like, if you beat Cleric Beast at the beginning of the game, you should not have a problem with that phase of Lawrence, I think. This phase, on the other hand, I think is pretty fucking straightforward. He spits a bit of lava at you, it tends to go in a straight line. He covers kind of a cone in front of him. He does kind of track your movement a little bit, but it's not that bad. And then he does this, where he slams his hands down and he tries to crawl towards you. And every time he slams his hand down, it creates a little explosion. It's just about baiting him out and then getting around behind him, because he has problems turning. And you just go back and forth from one side of the room to the other, baiting that attack out, and then countering when you have a chance. It tends to prolong the second half of the fight, but it's... I don't know, it's not that lethal. This was, I think, my second time seeing this when I fought him. And you saw earlier on in the fight, you could still do the trick where you just shoot him with the pistol a couple of times in the head for an easy visceral attack if you want. I don't think he regenerated his head quickly enough for me to get another visceral attack like that in. So I wasted a bunch of bullets. But I mean, this is a perfectly manageable fight. If you really want to give yourself an edge in that second phase, you could just equip Simon's Bowblade and go to town on him. I don't see the difficulty of this. He's Cleric Beast in Phase 1, and in Phase 2, he's really only got one dangerous thing that he does, which is crawling towards you and slamming the ground to create the explosion. And that's kind of easy enough if you're maintaining a good distance from him. And then going in when he stops doing that. So Beast's Embrace. After repeated experiments in controlling the Scourge of Beasts, the Gentle Embrace rune was discovered. When its implementation failed, the Embrace became a forbidden rune, but this knowledge became a foundation of the Healing Church. Those who swear this oath take on a ghastly form and enjoy accentuated transformation effects, especially while wielding a beast weapon. So where or what do we know of as a beast weapon? Well, I'm gonna answer that in a second, as we go back to the Hunter's Dream. Also, I just want to point this out. There are tiny little wings on that statue, much like the wings on the creatures in the Upper Cathedral Ward. Those choir creatures that kind of resemble a Briatus. Although the rest of its form is pretty humanoid. Which I think is just an interesting little observation. So the Beast Rune, it's not exactly how this mechanic was originally teased, but now, finally, after months and months of people kind of going on a wild goose chase, we finally get our beast form. Yeah, and I think I take my clothes off in a second just so you can really enjoy the full view of this little mini cleric beast we turn into. And that's not even the best part. The animations are kind of unique, much like when you roll around or backstep with a milkweed rune. The animations actually change while you're transformed into the beast form. Better yet, though, like how milkweed interacts with the Cos Parasite, the Beast's Embrace rune gives you a hint that it interacts with beast weapons, namely the Beast Claws. The Beast Claws here essentially got an entirely new moveset for the old hunters. Their moveset, while you have the Beast Embrace rune on, is entirely different. You build a lot more beast gauge. your jump attack... Oh, wait, that's not the one. I'm sure I hit that thing eventually. Oh, this is the transform version. I think that's either the R2 or the L2. I can't remember which one that is. It's, the Beast Roar, except it consumes stamina instead of bullets now. And your jump attack is now a dive kick, which you can use to change direction mid-air. You can change your jump direction mid-air with that attack. Oh, it's a sick little dive kick that you got a preview of back against the Beast Hunter in the Hunter's Nightmare. So that's about it. This DLC combined 2 DLC packs into one. They've said we're not getting more DLC, which is kind of unfortunate, but at the same time, this one is just so fucking awesome. I'm really, really happy with the way the old Hunters panned out. What a tremendous addition it's been. Not gonna spend too long on the wrap-up because we've been through that twice already with the base game and the Chalice Dungeons, but I just want to reiterate what a perfect game this is, man. Exceptional in every way. Old Hunters added so much to the narrative, more hauntingly beautiful environments, some really cool bosses, went even further with the Lovecraftian horror, almost doubled the amount of trick weapons, just took everything about an already great game and made it better. No other game manages to pull off making you feel both frail and vulnerable while also giving you the tools to be just untouchable, like an unrelenting monster. It is the weirdest thing to kind of put into a genre, because it's like a horror power fantasy, which doesn't make intuitive sense, right? Just fantastic design that lives or dies by things like the dash mechanic, and they nail that core mechanic perfectly. Anyway, that's gonna do it for now. Thanks for watching, everyone. Take it easy. Have a good one.